All right, good morning. We're back. Excuse me. Good morning, Oblivion. How are you? I hope your weekend was good. 11 a.m. and procrastinating sleep. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad your weekend was productive, though. Although I prefer not to use my weekend catching up on work, but sometimes I realize that's what you got to do. Huh? Why is my thing not working? You were lazy during the well, then I guess you have no one to blame. Yeah. And yeah, that sounds fair. All right, boot.dev, here we go. Where were we? Text HTML node. I don't actually remember where I was. Let's see. Go ahead and open the terminal. Yes, you can update that. Make this a little bigger. Okay, let's go to the Tolkien Fan Club. Hey, what's up, Thunder Deer? How are you doing? Oops, that's not what I want. Okay, let's open NeoVim. Then let's split the pane down. Make this a little smaller. We actually need to activate the virtual environment. Key. All right, so all our tests are passing, which is good. Now, what is the situation in the text node? Okay, so that's image. So I think I've implemented everything I was supposed to. Image, link, code, italic, bold, plain. I think we can actually submit this. I'm actually going to split this one again. Split pane right. Okay. So now let's try -S. Woohoo! Oh, let's accept our chest. Which is good. And let's activate a potion. Alright, split delimiter. I'm good. Been a while since I watched the stream. In between PTO, got last week off. Next week I'm doing 3 weeks off. Dude, 3 weeks off. Let's go. That sounds like a lot of PTO time, which is the best kind of time. I have PTO. I took PTO this week. I took a week in July, I took a week in June, and I took 1 week in August. Just to kind of be, it's not like we really have any plans. We're not going on vacation or anything. Just to be off, and just to hang out with the family and be around the house. My company that I work for has unlimited PTO, so I'm trying to be better about using it. Because I think the last 5 years, I think when I did the math, I've only taken off like 10 days a year for the last 5 years. So I'm trying to be a little bit more aggressive with using our PTO policy. Alright, create a new function. I put this in a new code file, but you can organize your code as you please. Split nodes delimiter. It takes a list of old nodes, a delimiter, and a text type. It should return a new list of nodes where any text type nodes in the input list are potentially split into multiple nodes based on the syntax. For example, given the following input, new node becomes, this is text with a code block word. The beauty of this function is that it will take care of inline code block and italic text using the same logic. The delimiter and matching text type are the only thing that changes, e.g. ** for bold, underscore for italics, and a backtick for code. Also, because it operates on an input list, we can call it multiple times to handle different types of delimiters. And the order in which you check for different delimiters matters, which actually simplifies implementation. I don't want to give you full pseudocode, but here are some pointers. If an old node is not a text type, just add it to the new list as is. We only attempt to split text type nodes. If a matching closing delimiter is not found, just raise an exception with a helpful error message. The .split method, string method was useful. The .extend list method was useful. Write a bunch of tests. Be sure to test various types of delimiters. Yeah, okay. I get yelled at by my CEO if I don't take all my PTO in a year. Well, that sounds like a good CEO. Yeah, I mean, if you definitely have a limited number of PTO days and they don't carry over, yeah, you should definitely take them. I mean, I think that's why companies sometimes honestly do the unlimited, or I don't think that, maybe that's not the right way to say that. Companies don't, I don't think, purposely put in place unlimited PTO time to get employees not to take time off. But based on the research, it seems like the effect of not having a finite number of days that you can take off each year leads people not to take as many days off. But you definitely don't want to miss any PTO time. Alright, let's see if I can figure out what I'm supposed to be doing here. Okay. We'll go. We can do the same thing he did. Let's do split. What do you call that function? Split nodes. And then we'll do test split nodes I. When the signature for this function is this. Hey, what's up there, Cyberlonka? Hello, unfunny guy. Is it good to get experience in network engineer before going to cloud security? I mean, any experience feels like it is probably good experience. I don't know anything though about cloud security jobs, and I don't know anything about networks engineering jobs either. Unfunny guy, so I would hate to steer you wrong, but I feel like any amount of experience can be useful. Maybe not required, but useful nonetheless. So the question is, okay, so if or for node in old nodes, if node dot text type does not equal text type dot text type dot plain. Continue. Did I understand that part of the requirement? It takes a list of old text nodes, a delimiter, and a text type. It should return a new list of nodes where any text type nodes in the input list are potentially split into multiple nodes based on syntax. Huh. Okay, so that's not what I need to check for. Let's just for now do that. We'll return our empty list and let's write a test. So let's do test split nodes delimiter when given backticks, it should return expected nodes or something like that. So we'll say old nodes equals this. It's interesting that they don't actually give you a set of tests to test against. They just tell you to write a bunch of tests, which I find interesting. Okay, and then LSP restart. Am I a full stack? No, or I guess you could say I'm a full stack, but I don't work as a full stack developer. I work as a quality engineer. So I do manual and automated testing. And I just write code on the internet for fun on YouTube. Yes, boot.dev does have gamification. OG-sama. It does indeed. It has different ranks that you can achieve. It's all free though. If you don't really care about the gamification stuff, it's all free to read, you know. So you don't necessarily have to do the gamification part. But if you're interested in it, it is there. It's a little expensive, but it's good so far. Hello, follower. What in the Python am I watching? You're watching me do boot.dev. But you don't have to hang around here if you don't want to. Good morning, Buffer Ghost. Nice to see you. I have talked to a few people in LinkedIn. They told apply for cloud security job and getting hired is almost impossible for a fresher. Interesting. Yeah, I have not talked to anybody about cloud security jobs, so I don't know what that world's like. Good morning, Cyberlanka. I do not have any coffee, actually. I need to go start the water for coffee. I'm going to go do that right now. Oh, no. Camera. Where's it gone? Alright, one sec. Hold on. An SRE. Nice, dude. Well, congratulations on your new position. It's very exciting. So the thing with this function that we're writing is you basically need to handle all the different characters Okay, now that we can convert text nodes to HTML nodes, we need to be able to create text nodes from raw markdown strings. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Call this a result. And not there. And I'm going to say def test split nodes delimiter and given empty list of old So let's say this is our old nodes. Okay, so what's the what is the, I don't think I understand this completely. Takes a list of old nodes, a delimiter, and a text type. It should return a new list of nodes where any text type nodes in the input list are potentially split into multiple nodes based on the syntax. Okay, if any old node is not a text type just add it to the new list as is. We only attempt to split text type objects. Okay, so then that is, I was right. Okay, so if we're given an empty list, it should return an empty list. So we'll say self.assert list equal result equals expected. We're going to say unexpected and call this result. I'm going to put that there. Then I'm going to remove this test real quick. That passes. Then we're going to say def test split nodes delimiter when given no text or when given no plain type, it should return nodes should return with no changes. What I mean by that is if, let's say if we were given, we were to say test that did not work. So this is where we want to if node dot text type does not equal text type dot plain. Then in this case, all we want to do is we want to add this to the result, and then continue. For why? Lists differ? Why do the lists differ? Current results. Oops. First differing element. Do I not understand what assert list equals? Self.assert list. This song is too jazzy for me. Huh. Let me go check on the water real quick. How many years has it been since you started coding? It's been about 6. Yeah, about 6 years. Get to use a lot of different software to provide services. It's a lot more learning at the job. Nice, dude. Well, I'm glad you're liking it. That's awesome. Yeah, very cool. Alright, I'm back. Still don't get how devs write 200 lines of code. When I was doing my degree, I struggled to write 20 lines of code. I think it's just reps, man. Just practice, lots and lots of practice. And I write errors. Everyone writes errors, you know? As far as suggestions on getting better at coding, my only real advice is just more time with your fingers on a keyboard solving problems, you know? I don't know if there's really a shortcut to it. Huh. I don't understand. Why are we... Oh. I'm appending the result, not the node. There we go. Idiot. Hey, what's up, Kale? Thanks for being a member, man. Appreciate you. Good to see you again. Hope life is treating you well. Hope you had a good weekend. Okay, we got that. If a matching closing delimiter is not found, just raise an exception with a helpful error message that's invalid markdown syntax. Okay, so what would simulate that case? Alright, so if we have a node that is plain text, then what we should do is we should try to split it, I guess, on the delimiter. Let's just try to simulate what happens, right? So let's see if we can figure that out. So if we're going to say def test split nodes delimiter when given no matching delimiter, it should raise error. So let's say we're here, and let's say we have a text node that equals text node, and let's say its text type is plain. Say result equals split nodes delimiter. Take in our text node. I guess we'll do backticks. That. And then let's say that it doesn't have the matching backtick. So let's say we just get this. what happens. So we'll say self.assert, or actually we need to say with self.assert raises. And what do we want to raise here? Raise an exception with a helpful error. We'll just say raise. What are some different error types you have here? Buffer error, index error, key error, lookup. Type error, value error. Guess runtime error. And then we'll call well, that's going to fail. So let's go ahead and see what happens when we split this. So we'll say parts equal node.text dot split delimiter. Go ahead and print the parts here. See what's up. This is text. So I guess, does this mean it should be even, maybe? Is that what we're looking for here? We're looking for an even number of parts. So you return a list of words in string, use sep as the limiter of string. If max split is given, at most max splits are done. If max split is not specified or -1, then there's no limit on the number of splits. Okay, so let's just assume that's what we're going to do. I don't actually know if that's the right thing to do, but let's just assume we're going to do that. We're going to say if parts mod 2 does not equal 0, raise runtime error, no matching delimiter. Sorry, length. Okay, that's still not working. I appreciate you being a member for 3 months, man. That's very kind of you. Okay, what's print length parts? So length of parts is 2. So does that mean I want to actually do this? Okay. Alright, so now let's test if we get, okay, def test split nodes delimiter when given when given valid input, it should return expected. Alright, let's use their example as our test case here. This is our good test case. So let's say we're given this as a node. So we'll say text node equals text node. Put that in there. Text type is going to be plain. Go ahead and do this guy. Put that there. So this would be bold. To bold. And this is our expected list to get back. I'm actually going to move expected up here. And this is actually going to be plain my case. Move that down here. Okay. Okay, so if we do make it down here, then we basically need to what do we need to do? Well, I guess first and foremost, let's print the parts list so we can see what that is. I don't feel like I saw the... Okay, so we have this is with a text, bolded phrase in the middle. So the question becomes... Okay, so it does preserve space. So the question then becomes, how do we get the bolded part versus the not, right? So I guess the assumption would be it's every other, right? So the assumption would be the first element is text, right? Then we'd have our first delimiter, which would make the odds the bolded and the evens, or no, the The odd indexes would be our plain text. It seems too simplistic, but let's see if it'll work. What are we doing today? We're still working on that boot.dev course. I didn't do any of this over the weekend. Actually, I just enjoyed my 4th of July weekend, so I didn't do any of this. Let's see. We are on, what do they call this? Building a static site generator. Yeah, this one right here. Run that guy. It looks like we're almost halfway done. So it's going decently well. Okay, let's just do this. For I in range of length of parts, we'll do if I mod 2 does not equal 0, then we know that we can append result.append text node. This would be the text would be parts.I, excuse me, and the text type would be plain. Otherwise, we have to do some matching. So we do match. We want to match on. We want to match on the delimiter, right? So let's just say base case is. We'll raise an exception. Raise not implemented. And then case this one would be bold text. So this is where we'll do result.append text node parts I, text type is bold. And let's just go ahead and do current text equals parts at I. Just replace this here. Text, place that down here. Oops. Do that. Okay, why did we... First differing element of 0. This is text with a bold. This is text with a plain. So we have our logic inverted here. So we do... Okay. Way ahead of me? Oh, well, but I've been doing this for a little while, so I wouldn't compare yourself to me. You'll probably go much faster than I have. I've been taking my sweet precious time. So we have bold. What else do we need to do? What did it say? We only care about... It takes a list of old nodes, a delimiter, and a text type. It should return a new list of nodes where any text type nodes in the input list are split. So what are all the types we have to... Oh, interesting. Actually, I think our logic is even simpler than what I wrote here, because I think actually what we can do is we don't even have to match the delimiter. I think the way this method signature is written, it's giving us the text type. Which I'll have to say, this I'm not totally thrilled with the way they've had us solve this. Like, for example, having a text node that then has a discriminator type that represents subtypes of a text node. I don't know. I think I would probably just go ahead and represent the text nodes as like a I think I would just go ahead and have a bold node and an italics node and a code node. Uh, it seems weird to me to do it this way. This function signature also seems weird to me. I'm not sure why why are you taking in a list of old nodes? Why not just take in a node? And then also this seems weird to me. Why are you giving me a delimiter and a target type? Right? Like we should probably just internally say, well, if you give me the target type of bold, then internally, like this allows a user to pass in dumb shit, right? A user could technically pass in. They could give me a bold type, but then the italics delimiter. So I'm not exactly sure why this design. Maybe there's a reason that becomes more apparent down the list or down the lessons. But right now, I'm thinking this doesn't really make sense to me. Um, okay, let's go ahead and add a test for code, italics, and what else are our different types here? So we can ignore link and image. So we just need to add code, italics, and bold. Let's go ahead and do that. When given, I'm going to say bold. And then I'm just going to go down here. Italicized. Is that a word? Italicized? It is indeed a word. This would be underline, 2 underlines. Yeah, it seems silly to me to have to make sure you italicized phrase. It seems silly to me, but whatever, it works. Okay, so that's italics. We'll give it code. Excuse me. So this is text with a code phrase. Backticks. All right. So I think. Oh. I think that covers it. Take another peek here. I think this is just going to have us run our test file, so it should pass. Although, what's interesting is that you can technically kind of fake these submissions. You could technically write no tests because all it's doing is executing this test.sh. So you could really fake this submission because it's not actually running. It's counting on you to write a set of valid and comprehensive tests that it's checking against. I would much prefer, I think, to have boot.dev have its own set of tests that it checks my code against instead of relying on me to make, you know what I mean? Because I mean, I understand like in a real world scenario, that's how it will be. But in terms of learning, right? In terms of teaching a students, I think it would be nice if they had they had an actual suite of graders. I think would be a good addition to this course. Now that's funny. That's good times. Hey, I am trapped. How are you? Happy Monday to you as well. Life is good, dude. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. It's all icing on the cake after that, man. So life is good. I hope the same for you. All right, before we build the next bit, we need to understand a bit about regexes or regular expressions. Regex for short is a programming language agnostic way of searching for patterns in text. They're famous for being hard to read, but occasionally they are the simplest way to solve a problem. To get really good at using regex, we need a full course on the topic. For now, let's just cover the basics. In Python, we can use an RE module to work with regex. It has a find all function that will return a list of all the matches in a string. See examples below. rtpot is a regex pattern. The R tells Python to treat the string as a raw string, which means we don't have to use escape sequences for backslashes. Escaping in Python involves using a backslash to ensure special characters are treated as literal characters. The pattern teapot will match any exact occurrence of the word teapot in the input. Okay, nice. Glad to hear it. I was just checking into your stream. It's been a while for me. What are you working on these days? It's been a while for me too. I haven't streamed at all really for the last, I don't know, 45, 60 days. I streamed all last week, so I'm kind of back to a regular cadence. We'll see how long that lasts for. As far as what I'm working on during stream, I've really just been doing boot.dev. I've kind of taken WorkX kind of off stream as long as this AI is happening. Working on your own projects on stream has kind of not, it's kind of lost its appeal because now everybody just wants to yell at you about not using AI to do stuff or how they can use AI to do what you're doing. So I've largely just stopped doing that. Or not, or I guess I'm just kind of protecting it, you know? I'm just protecting the thing that I enjoy most, right? And preventing it from being something that people can shit on. And instead, I'm using it as a way to kind of force some accountability to get me through the boot.dev stuff because I want to reach this Archmage level and get my coin. They send you a little coin in the mail to recognize you as an Archmage. I want to thank you, though. Your stream's a company while I code. It's a peaceful presence for me. Oh, well, that's very kind of you. I hope you get lots of work done. Yeah, man. Feel free to come hang out anytime. It's very kind of you to check in and see how things are going. You are most welcome. Oh man, regex for phone number. That way lies madness. Regex for text between parentheses. Regex for email. Regex for email. There's that way lies madness as well. Wow, they basically just dumped a crash course of regex into the middle of this thing. Let's see, negative look behinds. Sometimes you need to match something that is not preceded by something else. This is where a negative look behind comes in handy. Question mark, less than, exclamation point, con is a negative look behind that matches cat only if it's not preceded by con. This allows us to match cat, but not the cat in concat. The general syntax is where pattern is what you don't want to see before your match. Okay, cool. I love regexr.com for interactive regex testing. It breaks down each part of the pattern and explains what it does. I don't think I've ever used this website. Oh no, I've used this website. I usually use regex 101. Is usually what I use. But I think it kind of looks like they're the exact same thing. Yeah, this is what I usually use, but always handy to have another one to work from. Okay, which regex will match the following text? First name, last name. So we want W's. And the plus is one or more, and then we want the literal dash. This one? Yep. Which regex will match the following text? Hello world. See, what's the difference? This one. Okay, why not that one? Oh, the brackets. Whoopsies. Okay, so what's the difference here? There we go. Alright, time to extract the links and images from our markdown using regex. The findAll function that will return a list of all matches in a string. Use regexr.com for interactive regex testing. It breaks down each part of the pattern and explains what it does. There are spoilers in the tips section if you don't want to figure out the regex pattern yourself. Create a function, extract markdown images, that takes raw markdown text and returns a list of tuples. Each tuple should contain the alt text and the URL of any markdown images. For example, create a similar function, extract markdown links, that extracts markdown links instead of images. It should return tuples of anchor text and URLs, for example. Write a bunch of tests. Here's one for finding an image. What do you think? Should we put this in a separate? I'm gonna actually call this. Maybe I'll just call this extract.py. And we'll do test extract.py. Whoops, I want the test on the right. Look over here. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll say def, and we'll go here and we'll get the signature. Extract. extract markdown links. So we'll say, give me your text, which is of type string, and then I'm going to return you a tuple, a list of tuples? Yeah, a list of tuples. And how do we type that? Like this? Which would be return this. Python list of tuple type int. So we do a list of tuple that. And then we're gonna do that there. And then we'll come down here and we'll do extract markdown images. See, this is where the positive look behind, or the, was it the negative or positive look behind is going to come in handy, because we're going to want to, whenever we're matching link text, right, we're going to want to ignore that. Extract markdown images. Now, what was the... What was the return type for the markdown images? Same thing. Okay. Same thing. Okay. They're the same. They have the same. You could almost actually. You could actually probably extract this one further, right? You could do def extract. And then you could say, give me your text and give me your regex, right? Can you type that as a... Okay, we'll do that in a second. So let's add a test for def class test extract unit test dot test case def test extract markdown images when given no images, it should return the list. So let's say results equals extract markdown images. We'll just give it an empty string. Let's say self.assert list equal result. Then we need to restart the LSP. Don't know why I have to do that all the time. Okay. And this should be that. Hey, what's up, Yusuf? Hey, man. As I started, I work in big tech in my, or as I stated, I work in big tech in my company, and I just started. The code base is so intimidating, the hexagonal architecture and whatnot. Will you be able to give me tips on familiarizing with code? So Yusuf, if I remember right, you're in the Java world, right? I think I'm remembering you correctly. And is the thing you're working on a web app, or does it have some piece of user interface? Not really so complex backend services. It's a bank and processing and stuff. Okay, so it for me the best way I get familiar with a code base is to usually start at whatever the point of interaction is. So like for a web app that would be a web page, like a UI, whatever page is rendered. I'm not sure exactly in whatever system you're working in that would be. Maybe it's at the edge of the service where you get a response. But my recommendation would be to find that edge wherever the the output of the system is, and then I would try to figure out, and I would not figure out, but I would basically try to trace from the output, excuse me, from the output through the code where that output is generated from, where it gets the data, and basically map that flow. Like when I hit this endpoint, here's all the stuff that gets called and happens in order to return me a response. And then same thing for like if there's some way that you mutate the system, the state of the system in some way, like you can make a post request or make a put request against an endpoint, or click submit on a web page and post back to the server. But then how does that data that was sent in, how does that flow through the system, and how does that get persisted, and how does that actually affect the state? That would be my that would be my approach to getting familiar with how data flows through the code base. And I think what that eventually lets you do is it eventually lets you traverse all those different layers of a hexagonal architecture. Basically, peel the layers of the onion, right? Um, it's sort of a way to force you to do that work, right? To step through. That would be my approach if it was me. Obviously, you could use your favorite AI assistant, right? But I think there's a lot of value in reading the code. Um, so that's how I would do it. Okay, so we are looking for let's see, import re find all, and the pattern we are going to use is going to be exclamation point, and for now I'm just going to say star, whoops, period, star, period, star. Star is 0 more, so we actually want plus. Let's see, let's print. Let's go back over here to add another test case. When given images, it should return list. So let's assume we've got a piece of text that actually contains an image. Like here we go. And there we go. Hello, Tenno. Got my hands dirty. 6 hours of pure vibe coding, and it's stinky. Well, good for you, Tenno. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Expected. Should be one tuple. And that tuple should contain Rickroll. Oops. And it should contain the link. Oh, actually, I guess it should contain 2 tuples. Obi-Wan. Okay, the result should be expected. That's obviously going to fail. Let's print our matches. See what we get. First and foremost. Alright, so we have no matches. Why don't we have any matches? Let's go ahead and use our interactive regex 101. Let's go ahead and put our string in here. Copy that. Okay. Oh, whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. I want to put the text down here. The text. So we want to match everything. Oh, we need to escape those, don't we? That's actually why we need to escape that. Escape that. Should we have to, though? I don't feel like we should have to. Projects, special characters. I've always been against the idea, but I gave it a try, and it's kind of meh. Yeah. Vibe coding is interesting. It definitely is amazing how quickly you can slop stuff out, you know? But it's also kind of crazy how much that makes you not really give a shit about what it is that you slopped out. Like I don't know. At least that's how I feel. It's like I don't really care. There we go. So let's escape those. Escape those. Okay, how do I escape? Regex. Escape brackets. Okay, I did that. Now, why are we matching though? Let's see. Exclamation matches. Okay, matches character literally. Okay. I think we need some capture groups in here. Okay, but that's a greedy match, right? So I only want to match from Rick Roll up to here. And then I only want to match from this parens. So how do I... regex non-greedy. Okay, let's look at the tips. Where it basically takes everything right after. Where I don't want it to I want it to go to, or just go back to our regex. I want it to basically not go from this bracket all the way to the other bracket. I want it to stop at this bracket. So I think I can do a question mark. There we go. Yeah, I think that's what I want. So let's copy that right there. Although we won't have to use those escape sequences. So let's come back here and just do this, actually, I think. Oops. Okay, we're still not getting any matches. Did I not read? Dota, I just know greedy algorithms are making change. No, I mean, when I say greedy in this context, I basically just mean the fact that if you ask it, if by default in regex, if you ask it to match this pattern, it's basically gonna go from the first occurrence of that square bracket all the way to the last occurrence of it, which means you're gonna, in this case, it means I'm gonna capture way too much text. Oh, whoops, shit. Put it back. Okay. How do I thought by putting the R in front of the string. Let's go back one lesson right here. Oh, I know what I need. Do I have to escape? I want that. Only catch this. Only catch whatever's in here. Okay, it's still not matching anything. Hey, what's up, Inspire? Yeah, the process is going well. Right now I'm having trouble getting my regex to work. I thought it said I wouldn't need the escape sequences, but I feel like I do need them. There we go. So we can actually just return this, huh? Cool. So now we gotta extract the links, which is where we want to do the positive look ahead. So now what we need to do is we need to say, or no, negative look behind is what we want to do. So let's copy that. Let's put that here. And the pattern we're looking for is actually an exclamation point. So let's see if that works. Oh, whoops. So that's matching nothing. Okay, I think that's the right pattern. Let me grab the string from their example. Yep, that's what I want. So let's go back here. Then let's add a test for. Let's add a test for both these. So extract markdown links when given no links. Extract markdown links. Extract markdown links when given links. Okay, that should be nothing. So let's go ahead and copy our text from this guy. Let's put it over here. there. Now we need to replace with the to YouTube. To YouTube. Nope, that'd be VI prints. Yank. VI delete. Oh shit. VI. Crap. VI parens yank VI quotes put, there we go, and then we do VI parens yank VI quote put to, what was the text? To boot.dev? Boot.dev. And it passes. Okay. Then we can actually take this and just extract it once more and say def extract text string pattern string. This is probably actually not necessary, but then we can do re find all. Pass in our text, pass in our pattern. Then we can just do extract. Let's actually flip this. Let's say this is pattern. This is text. Pattern. Text. I think that's how, yep, that's how that takes it. We'll do the same thing here. Cool. So I think that all passes, so let's go ahead and submit that. Copy. Paste. And then let's take a look at their solution real quick, just to see where they ended. They seem to maybe have a little bit more complexity going on. I'm not sure. There must be an edge case or two that I'm not catching, because their pattern is much more complex than mine. Hello, Doran. How are you? Good to see you. How was my fourth? My fourth was good. Yeah. I still have all 10 fingers and toes, as you can see. Count them. So yeah, my fourth was good. We had fun. I got to see my niece and nephew. I got to see my uncle, my aunt. Saw my mother-in-law, saw my mom, my stepdad, my sister's new boyfriend. It was good. It was a lot of fun. Those things are always a good reminder of what's important in life and how made up and unimportant a bunch of other things are, you know? Let's see, now that we have extraction functions, we will need to be able to split raw markdown text into text nodes based on images and links. Create two new functions, split nodes image, split nodes link. They should behave very similar to split nodes delimiter, but obviously don't need a delimiter or a text type as input because they always operate on images or links respectively. Here's some example usage. Write a lot of tests for each. If it makes you feel better, this is probably the most difficult step in this project. Take your time. Here's one test to get started. Huh. So what is their thought process here? Hello, Noku. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Mr. Born Free. Yep, I was free born, apparently. I've never really looked up where the etymology of that name came from. Let's see, free-born last name origin. The surname Freeborn is of Anglo-Saxon origin, comes from two main sources. It typically traces back to the Old English baptismal name. I don't even know how you'd say that, meaning noble slash free warrior. Less commonly, it originated as a descriptive nickname for a person literally born into freedom rather than into serfdom or servitude. Huh. So I guess I don't know which one I was, but the noble warrior sounds cooler than just being born free. I always get entomology mixed up with etymology. What's entomology? It's the scientific branch of zoology dedicated to the study of insects and their relationship with humans. Yeah, those are different things. Those are different. Those are definitely different things. Reminds me of Freeman. Yeah, I've met many of Freeman in my life. Yeah, for sure. It is a strange last name. Okay, I don't really know how they envision us using the functions we just wrote. So I guess I guess now we can get the text out, right? Um, but I'm not really sure. Huh. Let's go back. Look at their solution files again. So this is matching links. Let's see what this does. See why their patterns are so much different than mine. Oh, they're first capturing group matches a single character not present in the list below. Oh, I guess probably because I think I know what edge case I'm not dealing with. However, I don't understand how that feeds into this next lesson. They should behave similarly to split nodes delimiter, but obviously don't need a delimiter or a text type as input, because they always operate on images or links respectively. Yep. Hmm. Here are some spoilers that might help you out. Make use of the extraction functions we wrote. If there are no images or links respectively, just return a list with the original text node in it. Don't append any text nodes that have empty text to the final list. Your split functions will be very similar. You can try to share code between them if you want, but I was a copy-paste grug dev for this dev. You can also use that split method with large strings as the delimiter. And it has an optional second max splits parameter, which you can set to 1 if you only want to split the string once at most. For each image extracted from the text, I split the text before and after the image markdown. Oh, interesting. So that's really how you want me to do that? Huh. I guess I'm having a different thought process of how you would accomplish this, but I will do it the way they're wanting it done. That's fine. So what he's basically saying is split nodes delimiter. Let's go ahead and go over here. Test split nodes. And let's get started on the first function, which is going to be called split nodes images. Split node images. Just return this to begin with. Result equals that. Best last name? I don't know if I have the best last name. There's definitely some people out there with some pretty cool names. First and last. Alright, first things first. Def test split nodes image when given image, it should return expected list. Let's go ahead and say expected equals this. Result equals split node images, and we pass in the old nodes. Self.assert list equals results compared to expected. And for now, old nodes will just be an empty list. This will be plain. Okay, and then the expected would be what? Expected. So now we got our failing test. Now let's make it pass. So we need to loop over for node in old nodes, right? And then we need to get our list of links, or our list of images, I guess. So we'll say images equals extract markdown images, and we will pass in node.text. And I think it should be the same situation here where we say if it's not a plain text, we just need to skip it. Otherwise, we're going to get our images. And each image is a tuple, so for image in images, we are going to construct. I mean, we're basically going to turn it back into the expected string in the text. So let's do pattern equals a formatted string, and then we're going to pass an image at 0, followed by image at 1, like this. And then we're going to say parts equals I guess node.text.split. And we split at the pattern. And we limit it just to single split. So this isn't actually going to work great because we're going to need to do this multiple times. We also have to, don't we also have to remove the so basically the part with the image we want to remove. I don't think that worked like I expected it to. Okay, let's do some more print debugging here. Print image, print parts. Okay, so this is our image. Okay. Okay, actually that does work that does work the way I expected. So basically to make this, I think, reasonably easy to grok, I think what we need to do is we need to say node text equals node.text, like this. And then I think what we'll do down here is after we split it, parts 0, right? This part right here needs to get appended. Oops. Result.append as a text node. I don't know if this is actually going to work. As I was thinking, I thought, I don't actually know if this is going to work. let's see. So, and then we're going to set node text to be equal to parts remaining. And we're also going to append result.append text node, which is going to be an image type, but now it's going to be image at 0. Let's actually label these so it makes sense. So this will be image alt text equals image at 0, and then image link equals image at 1. So we can say image alt text and image link like this. And so then that makes this a little easier to think about. Text type is an image. Then we have to pass in image link as the URL. Now let's see where we are. Did that do it? Can't tell if that last command was it. Did this, this. Yeah, okay, that worked. There might be a more succinct way of doing this. But that's good enough for now. So now let's add a test for defining the links. Def test split nodes link. When given link, it should return expected list. Because this is going to be very similar. Let's copy pasta. Let's get rid of these. And then we need to go back to our example here. So that's test split images. We want test split link. So this is our expected. Delete that. Delete this one. Uncomment these. Indent them twice. Replace text with plain. Now we need the actual target node, which is this guy right here. Do that. Paste this over. Do this again. Replace this with plain. Delete this guy out of here. We don't need you anymore. Get that out of here. And this will be split nodes. Split nodes. Oh, we don't have that defined yet. So this will be the same signature. And it should be almost the identical code. The only difference is going to be the basically the extraction. So make this link text. We'll refactor this and just use one inner method. This will be link. This will be extract markdown, not images, but links. Extract markdown links. And then this will be links. This will be link. That. Split nodes is not defined. Yeah, I know that's not defined. List out of range. Okay. It's out of range. So I guess let's do I guess let's print the links real quick. Print links. See what's going on here. Oh, I guess that's assuming there's. Oh, yep. That's a good that. So if that we want to, yeah. So if the length of parts right, because I guess what we're seeing here is this is our links. We start with here. And then these are our parts. And there's not always going to be anything left over after each split. So as we can see here, oh, whoops. That's my bad. Oh no, that works good. Okay, so I don't need to add that check. All right, so now it's working. It was just the pattern was off. So if we wanted to refactor this into a single method, basically the only differences between these two methods is the pattern at which we're going to split with, as well as the method that we're going to use to extract the images. So we could refactor this and pull out a method that takes an extraction function as an argument, as well as, I guess, as well as a function would probably be best. A function to build this pattern. So what would that look like? Let's do def split nodes. So we still need the old nodes. Just a list of text nodes. We need, it's definitely gonna return a list of text nodes still. And so let's go ahead and copy this. And so before we do anything, let's just refactor this so it's a little bit more agnostic of what we're doing. So let's just say extracted, right? We'll call this, instead of calling this markdown links, we'll just call this extractor. And then for this here, what we'll do is we will actually say pattern builder, and we'll pass in our extract. And this will come from this guy. That means we can get rid of this. And we can say extract 1, extract, and then we need to define those things. Oh, actually, now that I think about that, we actually should probably have 3 functions that we pass in. So we can do pattern builder, and then let's also do node equals node creator, which is takes our extract and just returns us a node. Like that. So we've got 3. Why does this resolve? That shouldn't resolve. Okay, so we're going to have an extractor, which is going to be a function. Which is going to be something callable, right? Callable. Then we're going to have a pattern builder, which is also going to be a callable. And then we're going to have a node creator, which is going to be a callable. Now, I think we can type these callables to be more specific on what they accept. Python callable type hint with args and return. A callable that accepts. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll define a callable here, and the extractor should return what? A list of tuples, right? A list of tuple of strings. So it should take in text stir. Stir, and then it should give back a list of tuple of type stir. Like that. And then the pattern builder should take a tuple of type stir, and it should return a string. Oh, that's because I did this wrong. Right? So we have a list of args. Oh, I want to. There we go. And then the node creator is going to have a similar function signature, only instead of returning a stir, it's going to return a text node. So then I think what we can do is, assuming the tests all pass, is now we can actually just say we need to return the split nodes function, where we give it the old nodes, and then we need to define what the other things are. So let's do extractor. Oops. So extractor is going to be equal to extract markdown, extract markdown links. Did I accidentally rename that? Whoopsies. This should be extract markdown links. I didn't mean to rename that. My bad. So then we'll go down here and we'll say, okay, extractor equals markdown links. Then we need the pattern builder. And how do you do a lambda in Python? Python lambda. Okay, so then we can just say lambda, and then we'll get our tuple, and we will return. This is what was this? This is links. So this will be T0 and T1, like that. And then our node creator is actually going to say lambda tuple text node is going to be T at 0. The type is going to be link, right? And then T at 1 for the URL. So let me delete this. And then hopefully, with all that refactoring in there, the test should all still pass. Yep, there we go. Still passing. So now we'll just refactor up here. And then the nice thing is we'll only have to change the implementations that we're passing, right? So this is kind of like a form of dependency injection, right? Because we're basically allowing the caller to supply the implementation of these different dependencies that we need in this split node function, which would make this super easy to test, right? So we could do, let's say we could do this, and then we do images And then we just change this to image, and then we should be done. So yeah. Okay, let's submit that and go on to the next one. That was fun. Although I will admit this is not the nicest this is not the nicest method signature, right? And you could argue it's probably a little overkill. You could also probably argue that there's other dependencies in here that we could probably factor out too. I'm not a big fan of using the tuples this way. I would much prefer to have a strongly typed result from these methods. So instead of returning a tuple, it would be much better, I think, to just return some sort of object that's called a markdown link that clearly denotes, instead of relying on indexes, it would just clearly say like markdown link dot text, right, and markdown link dot URL instead of having to rely on the index. But that's just a preference thing, I think. Let's go ahead and submit it. We earned a sharpshooter chest. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and activate another potion. Okay, create a text to text nodes function. Here's some input. Okay. It should output this list of nodes. This function should be quite simple now that we've done all the hard work. Just use all your splitting functions one after the other. Write some tests. Excuse me. Where do I want to put this function, though? I don't know. Let's see. Where should we put it? Should we put it in... Should we put it in text node? Text to text node. And then this should return a list of text nodes. Go ahead and copy their tests here. So this is our input. So we'll say input equals this. We'll say result equals text to text node. Takes the inputs. I guess I'll just say text, and then we should self.assert list equals result expected. We don't have an expected yet, but we can fix that. Expected. Come in here, copy these guys. Give that a format. Let's just replace. Let's replace this. So how do we do that? We do this, then we do text. TXT, and we just replace that with plain. Looky there, that was a little Vim food. That's probably as sophisticated as I get with my Vim foo abilities. Yeah, let's go NeoVim Master. I know. That's as smooth as it gets for me. Also, I just realized I think I have a mistake in my let's do find grep. I think I have a mistake somewhere in here. Yeah, this should be a single italics. Is all the tests still passed there? No, I broke it. I broke it. Okay, why is it? Oh no, I didn't. I didn't break it. It's just I haven't made that test pass yet. Whoopsies. So we're all good. Okay, so there's our text node. We can remove this guy. We don't need him anymore. Jump to the bottom. So that's our test. We need the actual text node file. So we need to actually implement this. Looking back here, they're basically saying we should just call the splitting functions into a function that can convert a raw string of markdown flavored text. The function should be quite simple. You've done all the hard work. Just use all your splitting functions one after the other. So what does it mean by all our splitting functions? So that's our extract. So I'm guessing it just means these, right? So I guess I'll start with old. Well, someone has to take the string, right? They all only accept nodes, though. Test. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna initialize the old nodes to equal the text node, and we'll pass in the text, and we'll say text type is plain. Then we'll say old nodes, and we'll just return old nodes. We will say, what will we say? So it looks like we do the images and so we'll do bold italics code image link. So we'll say split nodes delimiter. We'll pass in the old nodes. We're going to do bold. So we do text type dot bold. You're complaining. Why are you complaining? Because this should be a list. Then we're going to do that again. We're going to pass in the italics. We are going to do code. How we do images, which is just going to be split image, pass in the old nodes. Old nodes equals split node links, pass in the old nodes. Cannot import name text node from partially initialized module. Oh, so this can't live here. Is that what you're telling me? Or can what about this? Can I do this? Or is that still circular? Still circular. Okay, that's fine. We'll just move this out and we'll move it to somewhere else. Where are we going to move it to? I don't know. I guess we could just move it to split nodes. Then we can see where they put it. What the heck just happened? There we go. And then we'll come over and we'll move this guy to here. Yes, it's not defined where you had it, but it is defined. It's still failing. Test node. Oh. What in the holy hell? I'm not having fun anymore. Let's see. So where are you at? Failed to import test module test text node. Test text node from text node import text node to HTML node. From split node, import split node. Cannot import name text node from partially initialized module text. Oh, so this is another. This is basically the same issue. It didn't clean up all those unused imports, is what you're saying. Lists differ. Text node does not equal text node. This is first differing element at 0. Second list contains 6 additional elements. Set self.max diff to none. Okay, let's do that. All right, well, we have some bugs or something that we need to figure out. Good times. Okay. If I had to guess, there must be something off bold italic code image link. So we did bold, italic, text, okay? And let's look at, so we got 2 stars, you got italics, we got a code block, we got an image, we got a link. See, this is where a debugger would come in super handy, wouldn't it? And I don't think I have a debugger set up for Python. Let's print out the result then. Print the result. So I can compare. Oops. Oh wow, yeah. So we're actually okay. So we're actually missing a lot of them. So what am I doing wrong? I'm not building up this list of nodes correctly. So here's what we got back, which I think is the right thing to get back, but we're not appending everything else. So bold, italics, code, and an image. We don't have any links though. Okay, so obviously we're leaving shit behind. So the question is, why are we leaving stuff behind? So what do these split nodes do again, right? So they take in the old node and they build up a list. Okay, let's just look at the first. Let's just print the first. Guess let's just look at each step of the puzzle. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Arvin? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. So let's just print up the first. So we'll say print pre-bold old notes, and then print post bold, and this will be old nodes again. Oops. We'll just kind of try to see if we can't see where we're losing it. Yeah. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so here's the pre-bold. Pre-bold. It should just be, yeah, it should be just a single one. So post-bold. Yeah, that's what I would expect. So I think post-bold's working okay. Let's just copy these real quick. We can kind of study the transformations as they happen. This is bold, post-bold, that. So here's what we have. And then post-bold, now we have 2 elements, which is what I would expect. Or no, 3, I guess. Sorry, 3. We have 3. Which is what I would expect. And then let's do the same thing for the italicization. Post. Well, actually, hold on. We can actually make this a little simpler, can't we? So now we can just print out the italicized, which would be old nodes. This is italicized. Okay. Italics. So this is our start, basically. This is what like start looks like. This is after we bold everything. This is after we italicize everything. Okay. So far, that looks like what I would expect. Now let's look at the code. Code. Shit. Code. I was meant too fast, but I ended up fasting Ipto now. And I don't know what you're talking about, Arvin. Okay, this all looks right. So I think maybe we're losing it in the image. Okay, so far that looks good. This is bold, plain, italic, plain, code, plain. Code, block, and yeah, and now we should do split. This is image. Yeah, okay. So it's the image. So we're losing it. We're losing it here. That would have been a lot easier to just look at with a debugger, but we just created our own manual debugging. See, so we're basically lost it here. Yeah, we basically stripped out all the plain. So that's no bueno. So what are we doing here in the extract? Oh. So why aren't they getting appended? So there's our node creator. Takes a node link image. There's our extract markdown images. Huh. I'm a little stumped right now. I haven't ate lunch. I'm hungry. Oh, well, go eat some lunch, man. Go eat some lunch. All right, let's just focus on this first node. So when this function runs, it's going to loop over the node. It's going to say, hey, does this not equal plain text? Result.append. Great. So let's print, what are the parts? So print parts. This is going to be called split nodes, is calling. So why isn't this getting added? So this should be getting added as a text, and this should be getting added. Is it because, so if length of node text is greater than 0, result.append whatever is remaining. This might be what I was missing. Yeah, that's what I was missing. I was basically leaving off whatever the remainder was. Okay, let me run this again real quick, make sure everything passes. Great, let's remove all this print statements. Print, review, review. Make sure we don't have any printing. No, great. Now we can go back to our back over here. Let's submit our code. See what happens. Wonderful. Oh yeah, I can leave it this one. All right, now we're doing split blocks. Okay, our Grug Brain static site generator, our Grug Brain, only cares about two things: inline markdown and block markdown. Inline markdown is what we just took care of. It's the stuff that's inside of a block. For example, the bolded text in the sentence is inline markdown. Block level markdown is just the separation of different sections of an entire document. In well-written markdown, which we'll just assume is the only thing going into our generator, blocks are separated by a single blank line. Here are 3 distinct blocks. The heading, the paragraph, and the unordered list are all separate blocks. The blank line between them is what separates them. Create a new function called markdown_to_blocks. It takes a raw markdown string as input and returns a list of block strings. The example above would be split into 3 strings. You should strip any leading or trailing white space from each block. Remove any empty blocks due to excessive new lines. Write tests for your function. Here's one to get you started. Okay. I wonder where they intend us to put all this, because it kind of feels like we're just writing random functions now. I guess I'll just keep adding to the split node. Although it doesn't even really make sense anymore now. Let's call this markdown to blocks. Def markdown to blocks. Here's the markdown, which is a string, and it returns a list of what? Create takes and represents a list of block strings. List of block strings. So this returns a list of strings. And for now, let's just return an empty list. And then we'll go over to our tests over here. Split test. We will say def test markdown to blocks. When called with markdown, it should return expected blocks. So we'll just go over to back to their example. We'll copy their use test case. Give ourselves some formatting. Like that. And I'm going to actually pull this up to an expected. And this has not been signed yet, but it will be. Now we have a failure. So now we need to figure out what to do. Alright, so we're going to first and foremost, we're going to say parts equals markdown dot split. Let's split lines. Will that help? I think it wanted us to use split. Python split lines or split. So the core difference is that split lines natively recognizes all universal cross-platform line breaks and safely handles trailing new lines, whereas split in strictly splits on the exact literal character, frequently creating accidental empties. Oh, so we should just use split lines then. Wonder if that's a newer function or something. Does split lines naturally strip it? Does split lines strip trailing white space? Oh, that's kind of nice. I haven't used list comprehension at all. Let's see this. Copy that. Return. Okay, that still didn't work. Oh, because that's not what I actually want. I want to split where they're. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. So let's do blocks equals markdown dot split. And is there like an environment new line? Let's see, Python environment new line constant os line set. os.line set. So I gotta probably import that. Import os. os.line set times 2, I think, is what we're after. And then we'll want to say trimmed equals block in blocks so this is what Python list comprehension. So block 4 why doesn't that work? Python list comprehension strip line. Line.strip for line and lines. Okay, so why doesn't it seem like that's working? Because you have to do this? Oh, there we go. I'm an idiot. Okay, so then let's return the trim. Okay. That still failed. What does strip do? Okay. What does that look like? So we just have empties. Okay. So let's see, block in if block does not equal this. Does that work? Oh, whoops. Now let's see. Okay, so that's where, so it's, ah! Can't figure this out, man. Hello, D. Lurk away, Arvin, lurk away. Emacs stream win? I've never done anything with Emacs. That would be a whole nother side quest. Be a whole nother side quest. Okay, I don't understand what to do. Create a new function called markdown to blocks. It takes a raw markdown string as input, returns a list of block strings. The split method can be used to split a string into blocks based on the delimiter. Okay. So I think I'm doing it right, but I've got some weird stuff going on with white space for some reason. I don't know why. Right now I'm just doing boot.dev. Boot.dev is just like a gamified educational platform. If you're into programming and coding and want to feel like you're playing a video game, but also writing code at the same time. Okay, so I am doing this right. I'm going to stop doing that. What? Damn, bro swallowed us. What do you mean, damn, bro swallowed us? I don't get it. Huh. This is a bolded paragraph. This is another. Am I not testing against the right? Is that part of my issue? This is a bolded paragraph. This is another paragraph. Oh, yes, that's why. Because it's a literal and I've got all this extra. Oh my gosh, bro. That's annoying. Okay, now they have that on a separate line. That's what I want. So now I need to do trimmed, which equals block in for block in blocks, which would be strip. Then we should do trimmed. Oh my gosh, I think we might just have it. Now I just have to return that. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, that took so much effort. I don't know why, but man, it took a lot of effort. Let's see. But we're passing now. We're passing now. I earned a daily chest. See you, D. Have a good day. Our static site generator supports 6 types of markdown blocks. We need a way to inspect a block of markdown text and determine what type of block it is. Create a block type enum with the block types from above. Create a block-to-block type function that takes a single block of markdown text as input and returns the block type representing the type of block it is. You can assume all leading and trailing whitespace were already stripped. We did that in previous session. So headings start with 1 to 6 characters, followed by space, then the heading text. Multi-line code blocks must start with 3 backticks in a new line, then end with 3 backticks. Every line in a quote block must start with a greater than character, followed by the quote text. A space after the quote is allowed but not required. Every line in an unordered list block must start with a dash character followed by a space. Every line in an ordered list block must start with a number followed by a period. If none of the above conditions are met, the block is a normal paragraph. Okay. All right. Where did we put the text types? We put that over here. So I guess let's do block.py. And we'll define a class. This will be a block type. We need an enum. And then we'll just start with paragraph. Heading. Paragraph heading code quotes. Code equals code quote equals quote. And what was the other ones? Unordered list and ordered list. And I'm just going to say ordered equals ordered list. And we'll copy paste and like that. And then let's go ahead and just define our function here. So this will be def block to block type. It's block, this will be string, and this returns the block type, or the block. Yeah, returns the block type. We'll just do that. We can actually do a match. Oh, we can't do a match. So now we just need to create the logic for those different. Okay, so I'm going to say block start. Or we could actually do something like this. If block dot if hashtag in I don't know if that's a good way to test for it. Basically, if there's a pound sign in the first 6 characters, it's basically a heading. Right? I mean, I guess we could use regex, but that's 7:30. I don't know. I don't really want to use regex for all this, but I guess I could. Anywho, that's where I'm going to stop this morning. Yeah, exactly, Wagafa. You make a good point. It's not really ideal, right? Because there's a way you could basically create an invalid. So it really does need to check that there is a hashtag at the start. I mean, I basically need to follow their description. Exactly, right? I need to make sure the first character followed by optional 5 hashes, followed by space, and then some text. So maybe regex is the way to go. Why did I decide to do boot.dev? Just for fun. Yeah, just for fun. I had always heard good things about it, and it seemed like a fun way to continue to practice writing code and programming every day, but also was kind of a way to also like have a gaming experience to it because it has that gamification aspect to it. So just for fun, just something to do. All right, I'm out of here. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Hope your week gets off to a good start. If you're at the end of your Monday, I hope you did have a wonderful Monday. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. All right, bye guys. See y'all. Bye. See you guys.